Hi, I'm Jack Davis, and welcome to another episode of The Zone. Joining me this week, two Bruins, well, I guess former UCLA quarterback Max Heltzer, current UCLA team photographer, and all-around trippy dude Jackson Belcher.
Gotta love it. Appreciate being here.
Thanks for joining me this week, boys.
Thanks for having us.
And the first thing we have to talk about is something that's broken my heart my entire life. If there's one consistent thing in my life, it's the Dodgers letting me down. So you guys are both from LA. Obviously, I know Jack was a bandwagon fan and everything, so we don't know how he feels. But Heltzer,
we'll discuss that.
I know you're a Dodger fan. What do you make of another postseason collapse?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years in a row now we've lost to the Cardinals, so that's not too fun. But you know, I think there's a lot of things that need to be changed, starting with pitching probably. You know, we kind of got stuffed on the bullpen. We didn't have anyone coming out, so you know, as a Dodgers fan, it kind of sucks. You get used to losing, so I'm ready for a World Series finally. It's been, what, 16 years? So.
How are we going to get to that, though? Like, I'm thinking, nothing comes to my head. Like, we got to figure it out.
If you took over the team today, Jaco, what would be some of your first orders of business?
Well, first off, I say we got to get an owner who. I say you start from the top. No, don't start from the bottom. I want new ownership again. I don't want this whole media thing happening where it's just like, you know, well, Magic Johnson's coming in as a 1%. Love the guy. He's a great dude. He represents some of the most legendary stuff in sports. But I'm going to be honest, I don't want that. Like, that is LA. I don't want that fame in a professional sort of standpoint. I want it to be there, you know, yeah, Lakers got coaches here and there, but it was like they have Phil Jackson, they have Jerry Buss. Been there for years, been there for decades. It's like he's not someone famous, he's someone who loved the sport, actually cares about it.
Do you think Magic Johnson's involvement has anything to affect this team? He's probably, you know, not involved on a daily basis.
Very good point.
I think
Probably
Magic affects more of the fans. He's bringing, you know, he's getting guys to the game. That's what he's there for.
He's a legacy symbol.
Exactly. You know, people know Magic as Showtime Lakers.
I feel like Magic brought the trust back after all the turmoil in the era.
But
so you talked about changing at the top. What else would you do besides?
To be honest, I'm not, you know, I'm a Dodger fan here, yes, but I'm not the legend that's super knowledgeable about Dodgers itself. But I will say, as he said, start sort of with pitchers, and you just need to get a lot of attitude checks in there. It's sort of a level like, yeah, that big story was Puig. Yes, he was like, oh, he's out of the game, breaking news, huge story about it. But it's just like, that shouldn't be the basis of our team. The basis of our team should be, we go to practice every day, we do what we do, we come here to play, and we come here to conquer. And that's what I think we got to
So
pursue.
Max, you've played for UCLA. You also played baseball in high school, if I'm correct. Baseball is kind of more of an individual sport, but do you think, and based on your experience, you know, playing at a high-level college football, individual egos can take over a team, and do you think this is possible with the Dodgers?
Absolutely. I mean, the Dodgers have, you know, 4 outfielders who could all start basically anywhere else in the majors. So, you know, as a manager, your job is to kind of, you know, balance out those egos. And I don't know, to be honest, I think this loss I put this loss on Mattingly, just because I don't think he controlled the egos in that locker room the right way, and he could have done a lot better job, as we said, like
The Puig situation. And, you know, I think a lot of the heat comes down to him. He benched Puig for that last game. And a lot of people said, well, what happens if they lose? Now it's all going to go on, oh, Mattingly didn't play Puig. And so I don't know. I think Mattingly needs to, I think it's time for Mattingly to go.
I take your side, Jaco, not in getting rid of ownership. That's crazy.
I absolutely.
We literally just got these new owners. They're spending $220 million a year in payroll. They're doing fine.
Okay.
Magic can send out his terrible tweets he sends out. The worst tweets in the
They have
world.
terrible tweets.
But I think Ned Colletti, the general manager, has to go.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you look at roster construction, Colletti was really negligent at the trade deadline. Didn't make, I don't know if negligent is a fair word for a baseball team, but he didn't make any moves at the deadline.
Yeah.
You know, you have $220 million to play with. You can field a team that wins more than one playoff game.
Yeah, most definitely.
So let's move on to another topic. As we're sitting here talking about the disappointment of the Dodgers, unfortunately for us Laker fans, I think the disappointment's just starting. So Max, Jaco, you're here wearing your Lob City shirt. So
Come on, baby. Come on. You gotta sport it. You can't call me bandwagon. You can't do it.
Well, I'm gonna call you bandwagon. You're definitely a bandwagon. But Max, as a Laker fan, I know you're a big Laker fan.
Big Laker fan.
I just feel like I just want us to lose. I want us to get a top 5 pick. Do you have any hope coming into this year?
I do. I've heard a lot about Kobe in the last few weeks, and he looks like he's in great shape. I disagree. I think I don't think Kobe would come back if he's going to not be averaging 23, 24 points a game. And
You think he would
Kobe.
give up the $25 million a year?
Great question.
I think if he wants to win a championship, he's going to end up having to. Because I don't think they're going to win in the next 2 years. And if he wants to win another championship, he's going to have to sign another contract. And he's going to have to take a lot less money.
So Jacko, as a bandwagon Clippers fan,
love
this is
it.
probably
Thank
the
you.
peak of your
Yes.
NBA fan existence.
It's not the peak. We're peaking, and it's one of those peaks that just continues to go up. And it's just, I really feel that, with our squad, we got Chris Paul, we got Blake Griffin, we got.
You say our
a few
squad
of
like
these
you
guys.
have anything to do with that.
Oh, I'm fully associated with it on all levels. We're home. We are the legends of Los Angeles. We absolutely run this town. We're Lob City. We're making it happen. I haven't
How many
seen-
championships do you guys have?
I don't need to bring that number up at the moment, but I'm guessing you're on the Lakers side too, right?
It's not a great side to be on, but I'm on it.
Yes. The last 10 years, what has happened to Lakers program? We've been fantastic for the last few decades, right? There was a time for change.
You say we
It
about the Lakers
happens.
and Clippers. I
Shit.
feel like you have to pick one we.
True that. Well, I'm feeling, I get put in the position where I attend both games. I'm rooting for the red, and if I'm there, I might root for the yellow a little bit.
So
but I just
you're
go there
basically
for the
saying
game.
you have no loyalty, no allegiance. You're just a true bandwagon fan.
No, you can continue to go back to that. But what I'm hitting up with is, if you trade my main man Shaq Diesel, I'm never again going to be a fan of your program. I can guarantee you that right there. So we can maybe say, take bandwagon out of the little stuff here, and we can put in, you know what, the Shaq Diesel trade deterred me as a Los Angeles Lakers
That was
fan.
10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago, and look at us now. Look at you now.
They've won 2 titles since then. Clippers
I
have won
forgot
9.
about that too. So, but we're good.
Okay,
We're
but
good.
let's focus for a second and ask a real question.
Okay.
Do you
yes.
think, and I want your answer next, Max, do you think the Clippers, bringing back pretty much the same team they did last year,
Yeah.
with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and obviously Doc Rivers, the head coach, being the
Yeah.
focal points, do you think they can win a title? Because last year, they didn't get close to winning a championship.
True.
Can this group, with no major additions, get over the hump?
And I really do think yes, because as you said, the last statement is Doc Rivers. He's the main sole component who can bring this team together and sort of be a very united team. As we were talking sort of with the Dodgers, it comes down to, in LA, the huge thing is ego. It's being, you're in LA, it's big Hollywood, it's what LA is about, is being fashionable, being a super ego, all that stuff. So it's like, you really gotta, once you're in this town, once you have a team together, really gotta come together as one sole unit, really figure out what you're gonna do. And once you figure that out, yes, there's going to be multiple roadblocks within the way and everything, but I do think that with Doc Rivers as the head mind behind their operation, that he can do some miracles for the squad this year.
So do you think they can win the championship this year?
I'm going to say yes on that. I think they can
with
do it.
no major additions from last year.
No major additions, and if they push through the playoffs in a different manner as the way they approached it this year, if they approach it with a little bit more mindset rather than the swag that they had coming into it, they had a lot of publicity, they had a lot of good stuff going for them. They go in, they play the game of basketball, they will win the 2014 championship.
I think you hit every single cliche in the world during that speech. I think you didn't miss one cliche.
You can't complain.
What do you
can't
think,
complain.
Max?
I'm a huge Laker fan, so I'm not going to jump the ship and say, Clippers are going to win it all this year.
No
but,
ship was jumped.
But for me, the West is by far the better conference, and I see them maybe winning a playoff series, but I don't know if they can win 2. I don't think they have
The Clippers, you mean?
the Clippers.
Yeah.
I just don't see them. I mean, I like Doc Rivers and I like Chris Paul. There's the guys on their team that I like. Lakers should have Chris Paul. Still a little bitter about that, but I just don't see them getting by the Spurs and the Trailblazers and
The Thunder.
the Thunder, the Sun, even the Suns who missed the playoffs
I guess
last year. Are
the
a
question
good team. So.
I think of when you make that statement is, who will go further, Los Angeles Lakers or Los Angeles Clippers?
Clippers, but it doesn't matter if you don't win at all, right? That's the whole point. I'd rather
Very true.
rebuild and be terrible for 5 years
Yeah.
and then win a championship than be very good,
Good point.
for
Good
5
point.
years.
Does it make you any better to be swept out of the first round or to lose in 7 games?
Good point.
Right? So.
Good point.
Anyway, so let's talk about predictions now that we're talking about things that might be happening with Lakers and Clippers. Obviously, it's the semifinals in baseball, the National League Championship Series, the American League Championship Series. Excited to hear your guys' predictions. Let's start with Royals-Orioles. Neither of those teams have been in the World Series since the 80s.
Nope.
One's going to do it this year. Who do you think it'll be?
I'm taking the Royals.
Yes, that's our team.
They've got some momentum going in. I think they're the underdog a little bit, and I think they're going to surprise some teams.
So, Jack, you said our team, once again, laying claim to
I'm hopping on that bandwagon, I'll tell you that much. I jumped ship on that one. But I will say is I'm not too much a big fan of baseball. I'm very knowledgeable about it. I watch it all the time. I do a lot of stuff with it, day-to-day life. But I will say, watching this team, I swear to God, I haven't watched them up until this playoff. So watching this team doing sort of the milestones that they've been accomplishing.
They are playing on land, that's true.
That's very true, thank you.
Yeah.
Comedian, I know. But I really think that they, with the momentum that they have and with sort of just, not is it just the Kansas City, right? Mm-hmm. Not is it just the state, like Kansas City after them, it's all of America is sort of rooting for them at this point. I'm a Dodger fan. We're done. Who am I going to root for now? I'm rooting for the Kansas City Royals.
The underdog.
There we go.
So you guys both have Royals advancing to their first World Series since the 80s. Now, unfortunately, in the NL, it's more of a matchup of two teams that have been there.
Yeah.
In fact, the Cardinals have played in the last 4 National League Championship Series. The Giants have won 2 World Series in the last 4 years. These teams have dominated the NL. Who comes out on top this year?
Well, I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm going to say.
So it's a lose no matter what.
Take
Either
your
the
bias out of
Giants,
this one.
our division rival, or the team who beat us.
But if I have to choose one, I'm going to say the Cardinals. They just have clutch hitters, and Wainwright's the second best pitcher in the majors. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
What do you think, Swaggo?
I'm thinking about that. I'm putting everything behind me, bias, opinions, all that. But I'm thinking, I hate to say this, and I've never said this. Please, edit it out of the show. But I think the San Francisco Giants will be taking this title, and they will fully,
So you think it's Giants over Royals?
Yeah. No matter what team enters that, not NL.
AT&T Park in San Francisco.
Yeah. Whatever team enters that stadium, I truthfully believe that San Francisco will take it over. They have the knowledge, they have the history. They, like I said with Royals, they have the momentum at the moment. They have people rooting for them. It's just all great vibe for them right now. I hate them, but I gotta say it.
You kind of combine the Giants and Royals here one speech there. So let's talk about a football prediction, something you guys are probably bigger fans of, especially Max having played and Jacko being the team photographer for UCLA.
Yeah, I love it.
Big game this weekend. The Seahawks, defending champions, against the surprisingly successful Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Guys, the Cowboys are 4-1. They lost that first game of the year to San Francisco. Everyone was bashing on them. Classic Romo. He sucked. He'll not go anywhere. They've won 4 in a row since. The Seahawks, they're the defending champs. They're still 3-1, but they've looked vulnerable at points this year.
True.
Big matchup this weekend. Who do you like?
I like the Seahawks just because I like how Russell Wilson protects the ball. With Romo, everyone kind of makes fun of him, for throwing all these interceptions. And I don't see Wilson making the same mistakes that he does.
Can we just bring up? Sorry to interrupt you, but can we bring up the Des Bryant replay at some point here and just show that catch that he made?
That was a pretty
absolutely
good catch.
incredible. Reaching over the guy, PI, nothing there. Just grabs it, reach it right back.
I like you reenacting it.
You can't beat that. Is that the right way to do it, like that? Huh?
Well, you could do that over me because you're about a foot taller.
Exactly.
But who do you think is going to win this weekend?
I as much as I wish, I flew out for or Winnebagoed out to the Texas game, Texas versus UCLA at the AT&T Stadium
Jerry's
out there.
World.
Jerry's World. You gotta love it.
You took a Winnebago.
Winnebago, 25 hours, baby.
You took a 25-hour Winnebago.
You can't beat it. Can't beat it.
At least
Sleeping
UCLA
on the
won.
roof, going, yeah, very true.
Yeah.
So, but connecting that is, even with that whole momentum of Dallas coming in, their big new stadium, they've been great. Romer's doing some stuff. I do think Seahawks will take this just because, Russell Wilson, Derek Coleman on the defensive side, they really can push the ball and sort of get something rolling. Yeah, I just don't think Romo's going to pull it out this weekend.
Yeah, I think this is actually the week. Personally, I think this is the week where the Cowboys come back down to life, right?
Yeah,
Romo's a quarterback who's prone to making a lot of turnovers.
Yep.
And the Seahawks have maybe the best ball hawking turnover
best coach
defense.
in college and best coach in the world.
So as two UCLA guys, is it hard to admit that Pete Carroll from USC is such a great coach?
One of the easiest things I can do.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
gonna be
easy.
honest.
I actually love Pete Carroll. He's one of my favorite guys. So,
if you take everything aside and look at sort of how he approached USC and what he did before he was there and what he did once he was there, you take USC out of it and you just look at the person who he is. He really does I hate to be a biased opinion, but he really reminds me of Coach Mora and sort of what he's doing in the very beginning stages of his days here at UCLA is he's really putting power into the hands of the people, per se. So into the players, into all that stuff. So he's really giving everyone everything that they need to move forward. It's just a matter of the players and everything within themselves to accomplish that.
All right,
that
quick sidebar here. We're going to go off topic for
Yes.
just a second because I want to touch on this point.
Let's do it.
You're the team photographer for UCLA.
Stuff
You've been
right
there
here.
for 3 years.
Indeed.
You are hands-on with all the players.
Correct.
You know, Coach Moore, he's been so successful. You know, what praise or insight would you give him? Because clearly, you know, New Heisel, there were struggles. With Moore, there's been success. You've been in the locker room for both tenures.
Yeah.
What is making Moore so successful?
I really do think it is. It's one of the things he continuously has been saying this year is be great, be great, be great. It has so many meanings to it. And, you know, I don't want to dive deep too much into it, but he is all about everyone being who they are, true to themselves, and being better than who they are. And he's the one that is the aggravator, the catalyst that pushes them to that extent. It's not just being great on the football field. It's the third string quarterback. As soon as Brett scores a touchdown, he's cheering harder than anyone else in the stadium. He's doing it. He's going hard, you know. And everyone's a part of the team, which is sick. So, like, even on a photographer standpoint, you know, it's like, wow, I get recognized, and I shouldn't be recognized on any level really, but it's just a family. It's really a big family, and I feel it's very connected to how Pete Carroll ran his team over at USC and how he's doing it now at the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I really do.
Great insight. Thank you for that, Jacko. So now we're going to do a segment that we're introducing to the show called Would You Rather, where you have to make one pick out of two choices. And today's Would You Rather, touching back to the Seahawks, Russell Wilson or Andrew Luck. These guys are same draft class.
Boom.
Andrew Luck was the #1 pick.
Let's go.
Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick, but obviously won a Super Bowl. You know, Luck might put up the better stats, but
Yes.
Russell kind of is the game manager. If you guys were starting a franchise today, who would you pick?
Well, I'm taking
And Luck looks
Russell
very
Wilson.
sad in this photo, so probably not. Forget that photo.
He's accomplished.
There you go. He
There
looks
you go.
fighting pumped there.
Great.
I'm taking Russell Wilson. You know, he protects the ball, he protects himself, which is really important in the NFL today. You know, guys like RG3 are, you know, mobile quarterbacks, but they're getting themselves injured. And not that Luck doesn't protect himself, but I just
That's a good point.
I just like the way Russell plays. I compared myself more to him as a quarterback, so I kind of
Moved a lot
biased
slower, but
on that.
Yeah. Minus Super
little
Bowl.
slower.
Minus Super Bowl champion.
Minus
Sorry,
Super Bowl
yeah.
There it
champion.
is. There
But-
it is.
Yeah.
Bad.
So,
But I will say, not to cut you off or anything,
go for it.
switch back to that legend Luck back there. There he is. Look at him. I think he has so much stuff going for him. You know, I couldn't name his stats off the top of my head for you right now, but I could come up with some fake ones, but I won't do that. But he's just been so consistent, very repetitive. It's not.
How about his comeback ability?
I think it's great. It relates to very much like the Patriots and how Tom Brady does his quick little fast-paced offense. It's you're playing the game. You're expecting this team to score if they get the ball with less than 2 minutes to go, less than 1 minute to go. You're expecting the Colts, or it's Colts, right? Yeah, you're expecting the Colts to get that touchdown and not lose the game. So it's very much connected and correlated with how Brady's got the quick offense, great offensive line, and he sort of stays in the pocket, throws the ball. I love it. You were mentioning the guys that are a little bit more mobile. These guys are still holding to the true old definition or old. I guess I use the word swag too much, but the old swag of the game.
So you
and
think
he's staying
Luck's-
in the pocket and making it happen.
Luck being a better pocket passer than
I
Wilson
do.
he gives him the edge in your mind?
I really do believe that. Yeah, I think
So
so.
here's another would you rather, now to bring it over to basketball.
Yeah.
So recently, this week, Bradley Beal, John Wall's running mate in DC, made comments saying that him and John Wall are better than Kyrie Irving and Dion Waiters. So,
He didn't bring up Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. He
well,
didn't do
they're
that.
doing the backcourt comparison, which
Okay.
brings up an
But he
interesting
didn't do that.
question. John Wall, Kyrie Irving, both young all-star point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you rather have if you could only pick one? They're around the same age. They both have they bring different things to the table, but they're both all-stars. If you're starting your franchise today, and we know we'd love the Lakers to have one of these guys, so let's pretend even we're the Lakers for a second.
If I'm the Lakers, I'm taking John Wall and Bradley Beal, not just because they're younger, but you know, I've heard from a lot of people from the Cavs that Kyrie and Dion Waiters don't really get along, and they were considering trading Dion Waiters last season, and you know, chemistry is a big part of basketball. You know,
Question: if
so-
they fix that chemistry, can they get it going and beat out this other
Can they
duo?
fix it?
Great question.
Jack,
Beat me on that
question.
one.
Who would you pick, John Wall or Kyrie Irving?
I'm not super knowledgeable about both these players. If you look at their salary caps, that's the first thing that comes up into my mind, which sort of defines who they are as teams.
They actually make about the same.
They make about the same thing. Okay, so let's pull that stat aside. But I'd take John Wall. I really think he has a little bit more experience, right? I believe, he has a little bit more experience in the game. He's worked with a lot of the very much biggest players in the world, and he's on USA's basketball team, right?
Yeah.
So with that on his side, I really think he has more experience, more push for the game, and that he can accomplish it much better than the other duo.
I'm personally taking Kyrie. Obviously, I went to Duke. I'm out of a bit of Duke loyalty here, but I feel like Kyrie can shoot the three. And John Wall hasn't.
He can drain it.
John Wall hasn't proven himself a great shooter. And in today's NBA, where floor spacing is becoming so much more important, I feel like having a point guard who can just step off the dribble and cash a three like Kyrie makes all the difference in the world. John Wall's probably a better athlete, probably better overall point guard. Yeah. Kyrie's a dynamic player, man.
True that.
So we're going to move on to our final subject of the day, which is a new segment we're introducing called,
My favorite segment.
Call Out. I can only imagine how much calling out you're going to do.
Come on.
But everyone picks one person to call out. The frustration of a sports fan boils over.
Yes.
Jacko, I see you're chomping at the bit there.
I am. I have to say something. So, funny enough, yesterday this got light of day, but a soccer player from Manchester United, Falcao, I believe you can say it, Falcao something. It's pronounced some type of way. But he has the sweetest thing that he literally taken to a parrot to, sort of show the parrot's capabilities and standards of sort of shouting his name as he scores a goal. And who?
He shouts his own name, or he's a parrot? You want to make it clear for our
my bad.
audience?
Do you want me to redo that?
No, you just tell us, explain exactly what you mean by this
So
parrot.
Falcao has this parrot. I guess he purchased it a few years back. Really good friend, man's best friend is a dog, but not over there. The man's best friend's a parrot, supposedly. So this parrot is trained just like a dog, and you talk to a parrot, it can say your name, stuff like this, but no, this parrot, red parrot might I add, because he's Man U, connects, color, makes sense. He is essentially, every time Falcao scores a goal, he goes, goal, and does like the Spanish version of someone scoring on FIFA or something like that. And he also goes, Falcao goal, and just continues to say it. I think that's the most awesome thing on earth, but also the most ridiculous. Who teaches a parrot to watch their soccer games, football games, and scream their name out loud while their wife's home sitting watching the game?
Wouldn't you love if you had a parrot following you around, and every time you did something well,
you don't know I don't have
said,
a parrot following me around. You do not know that.
I don't see a parrot here on set.
Touche. True that.
So, Max,
yes.
What's your call out of the week?
I'm calling out the city of LA. We lost. The Angels lost. The Dodgers lost. UCLA lost this weekend. USC lost this weekend, and to top it off, the Kings started their season getting the
4-0 shutout.
Swaggy P. Young.
So, come on, LA, you gotta step it up. Yeah. We gotta get some championships.
Tough time for LA sports fans right now.
It is. It's tough.
And in line with that, I'm going to do my call out of the week, which is Dodgers general manager Ned Colletti. If there's one consistent thing in my life, and I know Dodger fans out there, you feel me, is that the Dodgers break our hearts every year. This is our second year in a row losing to the Cardinals. In 2008 and 2009, we lost to the Phillies back-to-back.
Yep.
We've had different managers, different players. There's been one consistent, Ned Colletti. He's the reason we're losing, I think.
Lose that man.
Lose that man.
Come on.
$480 million
Shoot him away.
spent over 2 years.
Yeah, crazy.
For 6 playoff wins. My call out of the week is Ned Colletti. Ned, you've been with the Dodgers for a decade now, but it's time for you to go. I want you out. I want you fired. I need the Dodgers to stop breaking my heart.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Thank you, but no thank you. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Jacko, you're an absolute character. Really loved having you on.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
And next time you're back, I would like a parrot to be sitting there with you.
It won't be alive, but there will be a parrot.
Yeah.
Or
we can get
a miniature
fourth
drone.
little tiny chair. A miniature drone.
Miniature drone might be with me too.
I think I'm not going to have any guests next week. I'm going to have a miniature drone and a parrot.
And so I go back. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I didn't say you. I just said the drone and the parrot.
Okay,
the drone and the parrot. But guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on. Everyone, thank you for watching another episode of The Zone. Please make sure to follow The Zone on Twitter @TheZoneSports and subscribe to the Lip TV. Hit that subscribe button. Go to the Lip TV's website to see full-length episodes of The Zone and more shows at thelip.tv. And follow the Lip TV on Twitter @theliptv, facebook.com/theliptv.